A 7-year-old boy remains missing tonight. Now, the child you see right now on your screen, Lucas Rosales, has been missing since Saturday night. This was after he was last seen at Eastwood Metro Park. The police announcing just hours ago locating Rosales has now turned from an active search to a recovery mission.
Now, crews have been searching for days now for this little boy. Clara Faith has been following it all since the weekend is now live. Clara, what can you tell us about his disappearance?
Crews searched nearly 20 hours for the 7-year-old boy who was last seen in Eastwood Metro Park near Hashman Road in Dayton. Now, Dayton police say underwater drones, canines, and a pond was drained during the search for Lucas earlier today. I did speak with Greg Baker. His daughter Erica went missing 24 years ago. He tells me he knows all too well how the family feels tonight.
You go through self-hate because you're the parent and you should have been there and you should have been doing this and you should have been doing that. Just like with mine, that's one thing that's been eating me for years. Being a parent, why couldn't I have been there to be for my child?
And Clara, have officials provided any other information about this case tonight?
Well, Adam, at this time, Dayton Police Department is expecting no foul play. Dayton Fire say that they will keep us updated as they learn more information. Now we'll keep others updated as we learn information on air and also online at Dayton247now.com. Reporting live in Dayton, Clara Faith, Dayton 24/7 Now News.
We now know tonight at least one person is dead after a 3-car crash in Clinton County. It happened on US 68 in Union Township. 72-year-old Xenia Daryl Hatala died after a driving left of center and hitting another car head on. Now, another man was taken to the hospital but is expected to recover. The crash remains under investigation tonight.
We also now know the name of the driver who died in yesterday morning's Preble County crash. 50-year-old Jamie Rogers died after that car went off State Route 177, came to a stop in a farm's pond. Now, his wife, 50-year-old Bonita Rogers, remains in critical condition at Fort Hamilton Hospital in Hamilton. The case remains under investigation.
A Dayton 24/7 Now exclusive tonight. A transgender woman found not guilty. This after she was charged with public indecency because she used the women's locker room at the Xenia YMCA. Mamie Bob brings us the latest after exclusively speaking with her legal team.
The Devers are speaking on behalf of their client, who they believe still has a target on her back despite the judge's ruling. However, they believe the right decision was made Friday. Rachel Glines was found not guilty by a Xenia Municipal Court judge of indecent exposure. This after using the locker room that aligns with her gender identity. The judge in this case ruled that there was no exposure because Glines did not show her private area in the locker room.
It was our position that the prosecution kind of tried to twist the law to fit this case into a certain mold that it just didn't fit in.
Are there any plans to file a lawsuit against the city?
We're not going to make any definitive comments on that. I know that we're going to look at all of her legal options moving forward and make the best decision for her.
Documents show that the executive director of the Fairborn YMCA testified, saying Glines was authorized to use the women's locker room at all YMCA facilities. I spoke with law professor Tom Hagel about the outcome in this case.
The result was correct. These are the types of issues that are going to come up constantly until the issue is resolved concerning the rights of people who are in transition.
I reached out to the YMCA of Greater Dayton. It says it is following Ohio and federal laws and anti-discrimination laws, which allows all members to access its facilities and programs. I also reached out to the city of Xenia. It says it has no comment at this time. Back to you.
Maybe, thanks. All right, so let's talk weather. It's not exactly the most magical Monday as far as weather goes. It certainly doesn't feel like the 1st of May out right now.
It does not. It feels more like February. Record cold today. In fact, 45 degrees was our high temperature. So that's a record low maximum. So average high this time of the year, 70 degrees. Previous record, 50 for that low maximum temperature. So it was definitely a cold one for today. Going to continue to be chilly tonight and even into tomorrow. We have showers around, just some light rain, really just not a nice day. You know, it's one thing being cold, but then you have the clouds and the rain to go along with it. Hopefully you're able to kind of spend the day inside. I know lots of people took the day to relax if they could. But as far as satellite and radar goes, area of low pressure heading off to the north and the east. And then eventually we will be seeing some nicer weather on the way. So for right now, 40s and 30s, 41 Dayton, 36 Urbana. It actually feels colder thanks to the wind. But kids heading out to the bus stop tomorrow, grab a coat, grab the umbrella. Almost a cut and paste type of day, maybe a few degrees warmer. We'll be in the 40s tomorrow afternoon with some showers around.
A simple trip to get something to eat turns into a terrifying moment inside a Butler Township smash burger. A Cincinnati politician sharing his story when he and his kids witnessed a shootout inside that restaurant. Luke Jones shares what the politician told him.
A harrowing ordeal for one local family. They're sitting inside a Butler Township smash burger April 23rd when an employee and a customer both take out guns and start shooting at each other.
I'm right in the midst of it, so I probably would have took 2 steps and I would have touched the gun.
Manuel Fogarty says he grabs his 2-year-old daughter and races for the door, but when he falls down on top of her so they're not hit by bullets, he ends up breaking one of her legs. His fiancée is also injured when she flees with their 2 other daughters. Police say they've developed 1 suspect so far, but they aren't releasing his name since he hasn't been formally charged. Back to you.
The Texas mass shooting suspect is still at large tonight, more than 2 days after police say he shot and killed 5 people, execution style, over a noise complaint. Now, Governor Greg Abbott's office and local officials are offering a combined $80,000 reward to catch 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza. Now, authorities say they have 0 leads on where he is tonight. There are over 250 officers looking for him, though. And there were 15 people inside that home when that shooting took place. One of the survivors remembers people telling him to escape because someone had to care for the children.
So one of us had to stay alive to take care of them. And she was the person who helped me throw myself out the side of a window. But she still failed. She died.
Now, Governor Abbott is facing criticism tonight after labeling the victims illegal immigrants. However, the husband of one of the victims says his wife was a permanent resident of the U.S. Abbott's office later clarified his comments in a statement. The White House says the president is praying for the victims, but prayer is not enough.
Congress must act because what makes tragedies like this one all the more heart-wrenching is the fact that it is entirely within our power to take these weapons of war off our streets.
Now, CNN reports Oropeza had entered the U.S. illegally and had been deported by immigration officials at least 4 times since 2009. Police say an AR-15 style rifle was used in the shootings.
Governor Mike DeWine in Preble County unveiling plans for a new reimagined rest stop right on the Ohio-Indiana border near mile marker 2. Gwyneth Falloon joins us now live. And Gwen, why are they redoing the rest area?
Well, Elise, the Ohio Department of Transportation estimates over 30,000 people travel through the area daily. They say the rest area should reflect the part of the state visitors are in, and they should be able to learn about the area as well as the state's history when they stop.
Ohio, of course, is home to inventors and flight pioneers. We are truly the birthplace of aviation, and this rest area reflects that.
Now, Gwen, we do know that safety is a priority, so how will this actually help?
Yes, you're right. They say safety is their top priority. They say the CDC is reporting nearly 1 in 25 adults have fallen asleep behind the wheel. That's just within the last month. State leaders say rest areas should provide a safe place for drivers to recharge. Governor DeWine also has plans to build 33 new rest areas, including 6 right here in the Miami Valley. Back to you.
A former U.S. Marine was killed in Ukraine last month. According to his mother, Cooper Harris Andrews was hit by a mortar while he was fighting with a group of foreign fighters helping Ukraine's military. Now, Andrews was from Cleveland, Ohio. On social media, the group said Andrews was killed while helping evacuate civilians from the city. Willow Andrews said her son's body is yet to be recovered. That's because of the intense fighting that continues in the country.
Tonight, 14 people are recovering after a roof collapse near Ohio State University. Fire officials say that collapse happened Saturday night just off campus. Local leaders say too many students were on top of the roof, which caused that collapse. Police say that it may have been as many as 45 students.
The few people that were trapped, I believe, were probably unpinned. It was like their leg was caught under some of the structure, and some of the other students lifted that off the students.
Everyone who was hurt is expected to make a full recovery. The university says they're monitoring the situation and assisting investigators following the collapse.
A crisis in the classroom tonight. The police union sharing a video of what appears to be a stabbing at a Columbus high school. The Fraternal Order of Police sharing the video to social media. Tom Bosco explains if the district is making any changes.
The state's largest school district says it's going to increase its security efforts. That is after a stabbing at this high school on the northeast side of Columbus, a stabbing that was caught on tape. Take a look at this. Two kids got into an altercation, an argument. One of them pulled out a knife and took two wild swings, cutting the other student. One student was treated by the nurse, the other taken into custody by Columbus police. The district says it will institute more bag checks of Columbus City School students in the wake of this event. Now, that is on top of a system, a weapons detection system that was installed back in February. Guys, back to you.
A Sydney man is behind bars tonight after a traffic stop led to a meth bust. Lydia Bice is at the Now Desk. So, Lydia, what led up to this traffic stop?
Well, the Sydney Narcotics Unit was already investigating 34-year-old Greg Johnson Jr. after tips from Sydney residents. On Sunday, after he was pulled over for a traffic violation, a drug-sniffing dog was called out. That's when authorities found 8 grams of meth and 6 grams of fentanyl. Johnson is now behind bars in the Shelby County Jail. Just like this case, all residents are urged to get in touch with the Sydney Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 937-492-8477 if they have any information about drug activity. Back to you.
Lydia, thanks. Small Business Week kicked off today at the Rose Garden at the White House. What the president says helped launch thousands of small businesses across the country.
Tonight's Lincoln Day dinner bringing hundreds to attendance. We spoke with the 2024 presidential candidate on his plan for America. Next.
Plus, winter-like weather across the area. I'll let you know when we finally warm up. Coming up, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Tonight, new drone video shows us the trail of destruction left behind after an EF3 tornado tore through Virginia Beach, Virginia last night. Now, here's a better look at that footage. The city has declared a local state of emergency. It estimates that storm did more than $15 million in residential damage. 9 homes were destroyed. 36 homes had major damage, making them unlivable, and many more had significant damage. The storm also overturned vehicles, sank and tossed boats. Thankfully, no one was hurt or killed.
Yeah, pretty wild weather across the U.S., including this area of low pressure and the significant cool down across the area that we had, bringing showers to our region. You can see the size of this system and that counterclockwise spin. We'll continue to see showers tonight into the day tomorrow, kind of on and off, light, maybe a couple moderate showers, but that's just about it for our region. Heading into the overnight hours, we don't really cool off too much thanks to the clouds. So it's going to be a little bit breezy out there. We'll be right around 40 degrees overnight. Some spotty showers. Can't rule out a couple of snowflakes. Heading into tomorrow afternoon, mid-upper 40s. Same thing with the rain, almost a cut and paste type of day. We'll see some showers around. And then heading into our Wednesday, we do start to see some improvement. We'll start out in the 30s. Most of the rain will be off to the east. I'm thinking more 50s Wednesday, not the 40s. We do continue to see those clouds clear the region as we head into our Wednesday and Thursday. I'll talk about when we'll see 70s back in the forecast coming up in just a bit.
Let's give you a live look from outside the Capitol building at this hour as the debate over the debt ceiling rages on. In fact, today, President Biden took a swipe at House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The GOP leader was criticized for what Biden says is bringing the U.S. closer to a default.
For over 200 years, America has never, ever failed to pay its debt. To put in the capital in colloquial terms, America is not a deadbeat nation.
For months, Biden and other Democrats have been demanding a clean debt ceiling extension. The Speaker and other Republicans say that will not happen and that they're waiting for debt negotiations to begin.
The White House needs to ultimately get into this negotiation. The president's been in hiding for 2 months, Martha. That's not acceptable to Americans.
The House GOP passed a debt bill containing spending cuts that are unlikely to pass a Democratic-controlled Senate. Now, both sides have until next month before the U.S. government runs out of money.
And the president also kicked off Small Business Week today at the Rose Garden. Alongside Vice President Kamala Harris at the start of the National Small Business Week, the president touted his work for small business. Now, according to data from the Census Bureau, more than 10 million small business jobs have been created since 2021, a significant bounce back after substantial job losses in the pandemic. Now, the White House chalks that up to investments in federal programs for entrepreneurs.
Small businesses are the engine of our economy, the glue. They really are the glue, the heart and soul of communities. 40% of the gross domestic product of America, small businesses, not mega corporations, small businesses. You employ nearly half of all private sector workers. I don't think people know that.
Now, also at the event, the president announced increased small business loans in minority communities.
Presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy in the Miami Valley tonight. He joined the Republican Party in Darke County for tonight's Lincoln Day dinner. Now, Ramaswamy is a business owner and New York Times best-selling author of his novel Woke Incorporated, Inside Corporate America's Justice Scam. The Cincinnati native shared his perspective and why he's choosing to run.
I think we're in the middle of this national identity crisis. I'm a millennial. I'm the first millennial ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And I want to actually pass on the American dream that I lived to the next generation of Americans. Actually answer what it means to be an American. I'm an unapologetic America First conservative. But to put America first, we need to rediscover what America is. And I'm going to take that America First agenda even further than Trump did.
Organizers said tonight's turnout was great with more than 250 people in attendance.
All right, a live look from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam over downtown Dayton. A very cold, record-setting cold type of day.
Yeah, tomorrow the record to beat for the low maximum temperature is 40. Thankfully, I think we're going to stay above that number tomorrow or get above that number for tomorrow, as I do have a high of 49. Some spots may stay in the mid-40s tomorrow, 50s on Wednesday, 70s by Saturday. So we continue to go uphill. And the good news about this is that once we get on the warmer side, I don't have any signs that I'm seeing, at least right now, of a significant cool down in the forecast either. All month April was just up and down, up and down. It looks like once we get to the 70s, although of course we'll have little cool downs, no significant cool snaps on the way. So temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center indicating above normal temperatures look pretty likely for us, not just for the weekend, but into next week too. So I'll have a look at that 7-day with the latest on that coming up here in just a little bit.
Natalie, thanks. We're working to learn more about the multi-car pileup in Illinois today. The latest information on the unique dust storm and the injuries it caused.
The search for 2 missing teens in Oklahoma lead police to a gruesome discovery. Coming up, what we've learned as the investigation continues. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. We now know tonight at least 6 people are dead after dozens of cars and semis crashed along I-55 in Illinois this morning. Now it happened south of Springfield when an unusual dust storm caused zero visibility. In fact, that's video of that storm. At least 60 vehicles were involved in the pileup. 2 caught fire. The section of highway will be closed at least until tomorrow, and traffic is being diverted.
Today, 7 bodies were found at a home in Henrietta, Oklahoma, including 2 that police believe belonged to missing teenage girls. Earlier today, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol issued an endangered missing advisory for these 2 young girls and a 39-year-old sex offender named Jesse McFadden. It said 14-year-old Ivy Webster and 16-year-old Brittany Brewer were last seen early this morning in Henrietta and may have been traveling with McFadden. Now, authorities say that 7 bodies were at a residence where McFadden lived.
Has this county ever seen anything like this?
Not this magnitude, no. We've had our share of troubles and woes, but this one's pretty bad.
Now, it's the same address listed for McFadden in the Oklahoma Sex Offender Registry. The whole thing remains under investigation.
Tonight, President Biden promises the banking system is safe. This after regulators seized First Republic Bank before selling it to J.P. Morgan Chase. First Republic became the third major bank to fail in less than 2 months. Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank also folded after failing to hedge on low interest rates. Biden is calling for more banking regulations.
I've called on Congress to give regulators the tools to hold bank executives accountable, and I've called on regulators to strengthen regulations and supervision of large and regional banks. And folks, we have to make sure that we're not back in this position again.
According to the Washington Post, regulators failed to implement a 2009 law preventing bank executives from selling stock while in their positions. Such behavior is believed to incentivize risky behavior.
Starting next Thursday, federal employees will no longer have to be vaccinated against COVID. The White House says the requirement has saved lives but is no longer necessary. Last year, the U.S. Supreme Court said the federal government cannot mandate businesses to require vaccination, but can do so for its own employees and certain healthcare workers. The policy will end on May 11th, the same day the public health emergency for COVID is set to expire.
We're learning tonight a Missouri judge is now pushing back against the Attorney General's emergency ruling regarding gender-affirming treatments. Now, the AG ordered adults and children to undergo more than a year of therapy before they received puberty blockers, hormones, or surgery. The judge says this would result in immediate and irreparable loss for patients.
Well, the Dayton Dragons sellout streak continues tonight. How long that streak's been going and why they think it's going to keep going.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app.